consider that it's not just you that has this life. You have children to come in future.
So don't use it then.
Wait, excuse me. If they should keep the record for a constant amount of time, I understand. But it's sometimes 10 years, 15 years, that affects them.
I don't know how long they keep it.
You can't have it your way.
Sorry, lad.
So, how can they know if I used AI? Is there an investigation going?
Yeah.
I want to buy my case.
That's fine. There is
Of course.
guidance for us, and generally it will come from us. So if I think it's been written by AI, I will refer it for academic misconduct. There's also, alongside Turnitin, there is an AI tool.
Don't use Turnitin.
As you know, Turnitin is only a tool, tools are tools. It's much more about my academic judgment.
Yeah, okay.
And then there is there's a process, and you can see, because it's my page, I've got AO reporting form. Alright, so due
Me.
29th of April at 2 o'clock. Now,
20.
29th
I noticed that the other class was at 2 o'clock. Is there a reason why everything is set for 2?
standard. In my old place, it's all 12 o'clock. So, it's just the time that has been chosen. OU, it's midnight. But then if you get problems late on, there's nobody in the office to help you. So during the day works much better. Now, I just want to point out that 29th of April is week 13.
2 weeks.
Lad. Week 13 is actually 2 weeks after week 12. Because we've got Easter. Because we've got Easter, the university will be shut for 2 weeks for teaching. Guess what I do when the university is shut for teaching?
What?
You're working in another place.
I go on holiday.
I am so impressed!
So, if you send me an email, I will not get it.
Oh, you will, but you're not going to read it.
I won't get it because I don't have work email on my phone.
Yeah, you don't have internet in Malaysia and you holidays.
Well, I went to Spain and Portugal.
Really?
So, it is important that if you want feedback from me for your proposal, you have to bring it.
We had to buy 1 ticket to Spain.
Yeah. You have to bring it on the 8th of April.
It's just round the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So the 8th of April in the afternoon, I will set aside the whole afternoon to meet with people, talk to people, answer questions. Remember that Luke's advice to us all is that we do not comment on emailed work to us. If you want comments on your work, you have to sit in front of me with your work and we talk about it together. Key reasons for that: essay bills. Right, another thing we have to recognise is that some people, another form of academic misconduct, will have their work written for them. And if we give email feedback, all they do is send that email feedback to the person who's written their work and get them to correct it. So it's really important that you remember, I will only comment on work that you bring to me. Print it on screen, I don't mind, but you need to sit in front of me with your work and ask me questions, and I will give you feedback. We'll make notes from that yourself, and then you can work from that. Alright? So, 8th of April is your final opportunity to speak to me, and that is 2 weeks today, which is plenty of time.
How many students do you have that use the accent?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
That's what I'm wondering. This is absolutely. How do you think you know that?
I know.
Okay.
I I know, it is nonsense. However, yes, lad.
But why, like, during my experiment, AI and this wasn't taken this seriously, for example. Why now this changed?
Turnitin has always been taken seriously. SA mills have always been taken seriously. Perhaps we're talking about it more than we did, but certainly SA mills have been around for 10 years. They are now illegal. However, what they do is they say this is a revision aid. You must, of course, write and submit your own work. AI is getting better, smarter, more able to do things all the time. So, hello.
Yeah.
So, you're here
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah, we write down the
Good.
date.
So, look at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you head to the left?
Next time, throw away something.
Well, yeah. Back in the day, it did all rather. So I think we are maybe stressing it more than we did, and part of that is because we need you all to recognise just how serious this is, and that we're not daft. We aren't daft, and we will recognise when things are not done correctly. And it's not fair on your colleagues. Those of you who are working hard and doing your best don't want to see that somebody else is getting away because they bought something. Because that's not fair. Question? Do you have a question for me?
No.
No? Good. So let's...
In 8th of April, how do you contact me? Sorry.
Oh, Jesus, it's in the screen, man.
You're in class.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're in class.
You have them in front of you on the screen.
Yes.
This can I repeat again the email address you giving me?
Yeah, well, you can, but what I just said was I'm not going to give feedback on emailed work. Alright? I will answer questions via email, but that's only, I'll be back at work or back doing something on week 13. So during week 13, I commit to picking up my emails if it needs an internet cafe, but I will not, because our regulations tell us that we can't, I will not give you feedback via email on your work.
Well done, AI.
It's just so long, isn't it?
I know.
So during week 13, I will pick up my emails, and if you have a question for me, I will do my best to answer that question. Right, so that's not what I want. Alright, so Margaret asked this morning, 3,000 words is the maximum. No, you've got 10%, so 3,300 is your maximum. Somebody always asks me what's the minimum, 3,300. But that's my perspective.
Well, 3,300, which would include references and things like that. No, it's just 3,300.
Well, it's 3,000, but your plus 10% is 3,300. That does not include your end of text references.
The first page, the the list of
Yes,
the indexes, those are not included. It's basically your proper text, whatever you've got.
So the proper plain text is 3,300,
Yes.
not 3,000.
Well, it's 3,000, but you have 10 to play leeway.
Okay, so yeah, that's good.
And
Because I gap a lot.
I always expect people to use that extra leeway because I'm sure you've all got something extra to say.
Yeah.
If it goes beyond 3,300, and I have had this in the past, then either we will stop reading at 3,300, or depending on the number of marks, the number of words over the word can be your marks reduced.
So you will not be reducing the amount if one writes up to 3,300.
No.
But beyond that, you would.
Yes.
Okay.
One task, one document. Lads, stop mumbling in the background.
Like little kids today.
Could be the death of him today.
He doesn't know how to whisper.
No more cookies for these guys, please. No more. Stop.
This has to be anonymous, so you only have your student ID on it. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. You see, I'm looking at it, but I don't have this on.
I have many questions about this writing assessment. Yeah.
Today is the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Right. Yeah, so 3,000 up to 3,300. You must use ARU hard at site then right. You must put how many words you've used, that's correct. Use of excessive words is counted as academic misconduct. Must put your number, not your name. If your work is late, the same day, there's a 10 percentage point penalty. So if I marked it at 60, you'd actually get 50. If I marked it at 80, you'd actually get 70. So you lose 10 percentage points for that. And if you know something terrible has happened, then exceptional circumstances is there. Contact DOS. Does have to be something exceptional, and you do generally provide evidence as well. Alright, so key things. You are designing a piece of research. It should be relevant to your subject area. In a perfect world, it will relate to whatever you presented in your presentation in terms of topic.
If you don't want to do that,
Then you can do something else. Okay. That's fine. Just means you've got to do more reading. So you find your disciplinary area, then you start to think about what is it that you'd like to investigate. This could be a research question. Occasionally it will be a hypothesis or a negative hypothesis, but you need to be clear what this research is intending to address or answer. You start with an introduction background to the study. This is going to be really a mini literature review. 500 words. You should have at least 3 key references which link to this topic. These could be the 3 you used last time.
We can recite all these presentations.
Yeah.
When they see 3 key reference is 3 articles.
Yes.
Okay.
The only reason they say references is it could be papers from like a Deloitte paper, a report, a formal document of some sort. But generally, it's going to be research articles.
But this article need to have the methodology, all requirements? No, it's not necessary.
No. These articles need to set the scene for where we are with this thing at the moment. What do we know about transferring radio to digital currently? What's the history of that? Have we got where we are? The setting the scene using academic literature. Yes, Maureen.
So this first introduction, do we choose if you're not doing what you did previously for your presentation, the topic you use for your presentation? If you're doing another one, like if I want to do hospitality and management, do I have to pick a journal
Yes.
that would go with that? And
3 articles.
with 3 articles, yeah. So, okay. What the next question just skipped? I'll come back.
Okay.
I was circling that.
So you'll need at least 3 key references to the subject area. So you need to explain to me, so I understand what's happening in this area at the moment, what are the developments, what's of interest. So from there you lead on to what's the research question that you are interested in, what's the gap in that literature. So from there, you can start to talk about what the research problem is, support it with more references to academic literature, and that's about 250. So this is all talking about the subject, why it's worth researching, what there is that's already researched, what are the gaps, and thinking about how those might be filled. Then we move on to the research aims, objectives, and research question. So here, 500 words again. You're thinking about at least one research question, hypothesis, or model. From there, you need to think about, will you be qualitative, quantitative, or mixed? What are the strengths and limitations of qualitative, quantitative, or mixed? So in this section, I expect to see references to the research book, to books like Bell, which I've shared with you. Those kind of researchy books will be used here to support the approach that you intend to take. If you're going to do a systematic literature review, then you can talk about
Metodo.
Prisma, preferred reporting, preferred reporting in systematic.
Prefer reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis.
There you go. So you can talk about Prisma, advantages, disadvantages, how it works. Now this section, it says methodology, but really what this is the method section. So, I know. So this is where you start to talk about how will you gather the data that you're going to gather. The how. This does need to be quite specific. Yeah.
1,000. Ooh.
Yeah. But it allows you to compare and contrast. So if you're going to use a survey, who are you going to survey? What have previous surveys done? How do we build on previous surveys? What databases might you use? How might you find your target audience? Going to carry out a systematic literature review. What are the databases you use? What are the keywords that you use? So the real kind of detail into how you are going to collect this data will be in this section.
Annette, on that first line under the methodology,
Yes.
it says this section should identify the method
Yes.
that you began research.
Yes.
And how you are going to approach that.
Yes.
Thanks.
So for your dissertation, you are going to carry out a piece of research. This is your recipe for how you are going to do that. Now, many of you are going to do a systematic literature review. Some of you might want to actually do some primary research, talk to people, interview people, and then you would say, those people, what you've done. So you need to, and this is why I've been saying, you need to think how this joins up with your dissertation. If between handing this in and starting your dissertation, you have this epiphany and think, oh, you know what, I'm going to do something completely different, fine. But you'll have to do all of this work all over again. Yes, thank you.
And I read it should compare and contrast your planted method. When we're talking about method, is quantitative or qualitative? Huh?
Method
Or mix?
is survey, questionnaire, review, experiment. Methodology is qualitative or mix.
But and all research, we need to do something like that.
Yeah.
Why? It's not
Well,
necessary.
it's not research.
And we can use Survey Monkey or something like that for this.
Okay. You can use surveys. You can use online surveys. Can you use Survey Monkey?
No.
You cannot.
Because not realistic.
Use survey dogs.
This, if you're going to do surveys, this is what you need to use.
One moment, please.
Just.
Just
And at this point, you would simply say, I will use JISC. Near the time, you have to sign up, have an account, and all that kind of stuff that the college will sort that. So I'm going to do online surveys using JISC.
Yes.
The people who will get the surveys are. So who's going to get your surveys? Again, you have to think about that. Maybe, and some people work in places where workplaces package you to do that. That's happened maybe 3 times. If you're in a small company, you know the owner, worked there a long time, yes, you can do that. But if you work for the NHS, government, a big organisation, they have all of their own stuff going on. They do not want you to do your own research in the organisation, I'm afraid.
They will support you.
No, the small places, absolutely. Particularly if they've got everything fairly well contained. So, JISC is what you would use for that. Target audience, so are you looking? Whoa!
No, this fall under critical consideration.
No, JISC falls under ways in which you would carry out a survey.
Okay.
If you're going to interview people, who are you going to interview? Where are you going to interview them? How are you going to record what they say? How are you going to analyse what they say? How are you going to report back on what they said? So it's got to be really quite detailed. If you were doing a thematic analysis, you could use, say maybe I use word cloud to feedback. That's quite a nice way of feedback in the thematic analysis. But it's got to be really very detailed here. Now, many of you, it's going to be a secondary analysis. So again, this is where your systematic literature review comes in. And I've shared a couple of things with you last week, which will help to give you more information on systematic literature reviews. One of them is called
Annette, why can't find another JISC different?
Sorry?
You can show me again the website for the JISC, please?
Yes.
I don't know why. This is different. It's
I just clicked a random one. It's this one.
JISC Learning.
Yeah. Could be this one. Does that look more like what you've got?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, same thing. It's that orange square.
Oh.
I have just remembered.
We need to register, no? No.
Not at this point. At this point, you say, I will use just because it stores data securely.
215 pounds per year.
Yeah, you don't have to pay it, it's alright.
You know, you also have to know the rate.
Sure. If you're going to do it, then when it comes up to that time to do it, they'll get you set up with an account. So AI, you will set you up with your login and stuff so you can use it. Because Anglia Ruskin has a site up for GIST.
Okay.
What you can do is say why you would use GIST, why you wouldn't use SurveyMonkey, or Google Polls, or WhatsApp polls, or
So, can I, like, I want to make a questionnaire. Can I send it to the WhatsApp group of our colleagues? No?
sadly.
Well, Barbara, you don't want to answer this question.
So, let's think about that, lads. Why do you have those
Google
numbers?
Chrome and what else that is similar to
Which
Sorry, let me just answer Vlad's question.
Okay.
How do you have these people's numbers?
because we made WhatsApp? Well,
Yeah, because you're students together.
yeah.
Have they said, dear Vlad, here's my number, please involve me in your research?
No, but
No.
it's a fake.
So you can't use
It's
data.
favor.
Can't use data
That has not
collected
been
for a
approved.
purpose for which it was not collected.
Google Chrome,
No, not Google Chrome. Google
Scholar.
Scholar.
No, we're talking about questionnaires online.
Google. So it's for surveys and.
Yes.
Well, let me check. I did it. I work with this.
Yes, I've done it too. I can't remember. No, you're too far. No, it's Google.
Forms.
Workspace.
Forms. Google Forms.
Forms. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you can't use Google Forms or WhatsApp questionnaires or Facebook questionnaires. Now, what people do sometimes is they will go onto their Facebook page and say, "Hi guys, I'm doing a survey. You know, it'd be great if you could fill it in." But then you put the GIST link, and you would have to explain who you were and why you were doing it. So people, you know, can do that. It's a way of reaching out to
What
a
do we
wide
do
group.
to reach out? Any of this one?
No.
No, what you just suggested. Reaching
Well,
out to people online.
well, you can do it in all sorts of ways. If you're reaching out, if you're simply saying, "Hi, I'm here," you could do it with Instagram or TikTok or, you know, anyway. Asking people to connect.
Any social media you want.
Yeah, but not with research.
I mean, so there's two things there. All right, you can't gather data using those, but you can put your interest in hearing them. So what you can say is, I'm doing some research about such and such, get in touch if you want to take part. That's okay. What you can't do is say, and fill in this form and send it back to me. So you've got this kind of way. This is the
And
other
that will
thing.
be accepted.
Well, that's two things.
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah,
if you
so-
produce two things.
No. It's two things. Saying to people, here's my survey completed, using Google Forms or whatever, not acceptable. Saying to people, I've written this GIST survey, I'm from the university, I'm interested in your views, fill it in if you want to. That's different. Because you're using GIST, and you're just making people aware of what you're doing. So it's slightly different thing.
So how do you get the results after?
GIST does it.
Yeah, but how do you get to implement it into your work?
GIST does it.
Oh.
So it's a questionnaire. You say what questions you want to ask. Well, it's like using SurveyMonkey. It's just, you use SurveyMonkey?
I've never done.
Alright, so you say what your question is and you send it out, people answer it, and if gives you the results back again.
With sorry, one quick question.
Yeah.
With how many people we can do the survey? The minimum.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this
That's
is the point. But
20.
that's something to go into your write-up because you know feedback from surveys maybe 10%, maybe 5%. So if you wanted 20 results,
Mm-hmm.
you need it to go out to 200.
Hmm.
But that is where you can talk. You've got those 1,250 words. Benefits of surveys are this, drawbacks are this. Ways of trying to increase your response rate are put a date to be collected by. You've got no prizes, no gifts, no money, so you can't offer to make.
Hmm.
So all you need to do for that 1,250 words is how you do your research,
How you
what,
will.
how you will do your research, and what you are researching on,
Yes,
and the feedback from the research.
yes. And how you would. It's all I will, I would, I could. It's all future based. So how will you get the results back? Well, just will give you a spreadsheet with results. It's just how will you interpret it? So it's quite detailed. Systematic literature review. This is quite a good source to
Wait.
help you to work your way through this.
Where do you do the click in this website? Ah, okay. Systematic literature. Okay. So
Bear in mind this is
where
a blog,
do we begin?
therefore it is not something that you can easily reference.
Ah, here.
However, what they've got is, yeah, exactly. And it's got a whole bunch of literature here. It's got links to books, it's got other articles. It's really very good source for you, resource for you. For those of you who cook, this is your recipe for dissertation. It's all of the steps that you will go through in order to generate the data you're going to generate to answer your question. Ethical considerations. Okay, 20 marks. We said earlier on, if you're doing secondary research, systematic literature review, you might say there are no ethical issues. That doesn't get you 20 marks. 20 marks would be to talk about what are ethical issues generally, why a systematic literature review doesn't have any ethical issues, and what sort of ethical issues you're looking for in the literature that you are reviewing. You've got 500 words there, so you need to really talk about what are ethics, why are they important in research, what are the sorts of things you would be looking for. So, for example, Vlad, I think you had some kind of experiment, didn't you? So, within that work that you looked at, were they asked to consent? Were they given information? Were they given the opportunity to pull out at any stage? Had they had the benefits and the risks explained to them at part? That's the kind of thing to look at in the literature. Things to include: consent, data protection, confidentiality. And if you are talking about carrying out interviews of any sort, then data confidentiality, data protection would link to using DISC, having not using survey monkey DISC. If you're doing paper sheets, where will you collect them from? Where will you hold them? Locked cupboards, that kind of thing. And then academic skills, 10 marks. That's your layout, spelling, grammar, using appropriate referencing. Referencing is very important at this level.
And what's that thing about the quiz?
Ensure you attach an appendix with your ethics quiz certification. So that's, you've got it now, you've just embedded it to the last page. So if I show. So when you get to your last page,
Insert.
insert, picture,
Like a picture.
screenshots, did one earlier on, so there we go. Well,
Would that be on the last page?
yes. So, last page. And then you resize it.
But we don't need to include the PDF, no. No, we need to do one screenshot.
Well, whatever. The easiest way, if you save it as a JPEG, you can insert it as a JPEG. Because that counts as a picture. You can insert.
But we can insert this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. This picture. But you've got a screenshot there too, which we put somewhere else, I think. So that's the red. You must make sure you do that. And then when I'm marking, that's the first thing I'm going to look at. Any questions?
Maybe after break.
Should we have a break?
Yes.
Please, when we come up from the break, I don't want to do names like I did my presentation. For this one, I really want to do hospitality management.
Okay,
Because
so
it's to do with my first degree and I need to bring it here.
yeah, that's too broad. So you have to think about what is your question. What is it that you want to investigate?
Develop a new research question.
Yeah. So you need to research a question that your research will address.